Welcome back to Silver the Hedgehog reads The Magic School Bus, the original pilot. I'm Silver the Hedgehog. Now let's continue where we left off. She suggested that everyone goes into stasis sleep when a cancerous sore has developed on Mrs. Frizzle's face that nobody mentions. However, Miss Frizzle mentions that there are only 9 stasis beds and there are 11 people, including herself. She told them that she'll be fine staying up for 6 months, but one of the students will have to stay up as well. Ralphie suggests they draw straws. They do so, and Arnold is determined to be the one who has to stay up. Now, up to this point, the episode was baffling, but this is where the show descends into realms that I couldn't make up if I tried. After everyone goes into stasis sleep, Miss Frizzle tells Arnold that originally there were 30 students in the class, but 20 of them died. She tells Arnold that she is going into an upper airlock when there is a separate bed. And she told the students that there were less beds because she didn't want them to face the idea that one person would be alone for 6 months. In addition to this, the time frame for returning home was actually 2 years. She leaves and locks the door behind her from the outside. After this scene, the same distortion affection occurs as a long string of text appears saying, "But what happened to Janet?" several times. You could tell that time was passing by only because Arnold became more dirty and as time passed. The 9 beds line the walls, and there are porthole windows along with a control panel that is deactivated. The food that was left for him sits on one corner of the room and tries to ration it, but it only lasts him for 1 month. He also has no means of a bathroom, so he urinates and defecates on the floor. After about 2 minutes, 2 months have passed, and Arnold is looking noticeably nervous and disheveled, yet hopeful. He's extremely hungry, more so than he's ever been. Ralphie's catchphrase, "I think I'm gonna be sick," begins to play repetitively over a music track. I think it was meant to reflect Arnold's mind, but then Miss Frizzle begins to talk. "You're hungry, aren't you?" Arnold now realized the predicament he faces. He won't survive 2 years in this environment, and if he tries to kill himself by smashing a porthole window, he'll kill his other students. "You didn't leave me enough food!" Arnold screams as his voice begins to crack. Several quick cuts of the spaceship from 2001 play, about as rapidly as the human eye can blink. The voice begins to grow darker and more tinged and deeper. "Oh, but Arnold, I did." The animation does a long, slow pan across the room with what looks like a stylization of a wide-angle lens pointing at the beds. And then the voice changes. "I'm your extrasensory nervous system. This is no hallucination, Arnold. I am you." The weirdest and most convincing thing about the animation of the original episode is that Arnold looks very similar to Miss Frizzle. One would think they are related. They both have pale skin, orange hair, and represent nerds. Even their mannerisms, aside of Miss Frizzle's greater achieved sense of confidence, are similar. The voice began to whisper, "Eat them." Miss Frizzle slowly melts into the background as Arnold's body parts slowly begin to shimmer, while seemingly grow subtly added scars. Arnold had attempted to analyze the space chart over the defunct control panel for some time, but only now realizing that it was intentionally trapped here. Did it make sense? The path wasn't leading to Earth. It was heading for a malformed black hole that had strangely appeared to the left side of the moon. Through whatever means, the room was also becoming increasingly hot, so much so that Arnold had to take off all but his underwear. The unclean environment was forcing him to develop more scars and sores as he slept on his side in a mat before ritualistically, taking Carlos from the bed so he could sleep there at night. That was when he made a horrible realization that none of them were breathing. Miss Frizzle hadn't put them into stasis. She euthanized them. It was only after he made this realization that a scalpel appeared near the door. Someone had opened it while he was sleeping and moved the bodies around. The words "Bread See Hope" are scrawled in English on the wall in marker. The increasing need to eat was more apparent now than ever. He looked at Phoebe. He secretly loathed her. This became all the more apparent as he took the scalpel and slowly cut into her belly. He was not at all hesitant now. This scene is most disturbing because of the angle never changes. His expression is always angry, with stylized eyebrows. For an entire 60 seconds, he slices her open, eating her lungs and intestines, peels and eats her skin, then moves on to the face, slicing off her eyebrows and the nose, leaving a shaved skeletal corpse. As the camera time lapses. There we go. The animation is different here. It's more specific, more layered, and more medical looking. Now the cancerous sores are visibly on Arnold's face as well. The next day, the scalpel is removed. For the next month or so, he picks on the remains of Phoebe. The next time lapse seems more messed up, because now Arnold seems to have begun to hit puberty. He has nibbled on the ears and fingers of every student except Janet, because it's his cousin. The scalpel appears again, this time with the words "immoral scorn" written on the wall. Arnold talks to himself frantically. What does that mean? What does that mean? He picks up the scalpel and decides who to eat next. He never liked Carlos either. As he undresses Carlos and begins to slice into him, the student ID falls out of his pocket. It says, Carlos Ramon, immoral scorn. Carlos Ramon. It was an anagram, just like Brett C. Hope was an anagram in Phoebe Teresa's name. By now the episode is almost over, and the screen begins to flicker as Arnold starts to gasp for air. You knew. Arnold begins to cry. The animation gets very choppy at this point. 2 different shots are seen. In one, the school bus collides with the sun. In another, Arnold continues to eat the remaining students in order, based on the anagram instructions. Since it's a time lapse, you only see the bodies and the bones begin to pile up. He refuses to eat Janet, his cousin, before ultimately slicing his neck with a scalpel and killing himself. The cancerous sores envelop his corpse. Another scene was supposed to appear, but it was cut. The final shot before it ends is the words, "You're gonna go bonkers" in 1988. That phrase, to my knowledge, means nothing. The integrated film began to deteriorate before the Russian words appear. This directly translates to "Whatever happened to Janet?" And that's where I'll stop for part 2. Stay tuned for part 3 of Silver the Hedgehog reads the Magic School Bus original pilot.